Please welcome the SLA's COO and Director, Joy Erven.
Hello, I'm Joy Erven. I'm the COO and Director of the Surplus Line Association, and my role at the association is to oversee all of the operations as well as the financial health. And I was very touched by having my mother included in our moment of silence. And so that you know, I was unaware that was going to happen. And it happened up in San Francisco. And it shook me a little bit because I was taken by surprise. Side note, I don't like surprises or raisins, in case you're making other notes. But I had a few moments to compose myself and said a few words prior to the San Francisco meeting, and I also had a few days now to think about it before addressing you. And my mother was a special ed teacher. She loved education, a lot like Bob Gilbert. It was one of her passions. She was a huge reader. Like Jerry Sullivan, she often passed along books that Jerry and I talked about. And I was adopted into that family, and she was a very, very special, loving, and compassionate woman. She taught special ed for 35 years, and I was often her aide in her class. And one of her little quirks that happened as I was growing up and throughout my life having a job, she used to ask me on a regular basis, and when I say regular, I'm going to say every single time she saw me. She would say, "Do you like your job?" And I was like, "Really?" Like, yes. And I would roll my eyes. And then it was perplexing, but then one day it kind of struck me that as a special ed teacher who spent her time in a classroom, me traveling to meetings, having dinners to go to or conferences, it was really exciting to her. And she was concerned about long hours. She knew that the surplus lines brokerage community, the industry as a whole, works very, very hard. And so she was concerned about my happiness. And when it finally clicked, I answered her with no sarcasm. It's a rarity. And I said, I love my job. I love my job at the association, and we perform a very important function. We protect people, we educate people. It's full of relationships. You learn about other individuals and their families. And I've been very lucky to work with people who are interested in me personally and professionally. And they've really spurred my growth. And she looked at me and she nodded and she said, "That makes me happy." So I miss her every day, and I thank you for honoring her. And I am not going to get emotional. It's not the Erven way. So this is an exciting time for us to be in the surplus lines marketplace, and I'm going to review with you two things. One of them is the market and statistics, and the other will be the financials. In fiscal year 2018, the SLA processed just over $7.6 billion in premium, which is a 16.5% increase from fiscal year 2017. That it should not come as a surprise that we have hired more staff. We now have a little over 110 employees that work at the SLA and 3 offices. General liability, E&O, commercial DIC standalone earthquake, they led the top coverages, accounting for nearly $3 billion in premium. Our Communications and Government Relations Department, which is led by our VP, Clifton Brown, has put together for you an annual report. Everyone should have this report at your seat. Do you all have it? Can you all wave it in the air? Don't make it any colder in here, please. No, nobody needs a fan today. And you'll notice on your annual report, it has Los Angeles on it. Imagine that. So you have your annual report, and this is the first year that we have published this, and we have provided it for you at your seat. And why do we have an annual report? It's because the SLA is a business, and it runs like a business. The revenue that's brought in by the stamping fee is spent on furthering our mission and our vision with direct oversight from our board of directors. The annual report also highlights the accomplishments of our staff as well as our members. So let's talk a little bit about the financials. The SLA continues to operate in a fiscally responsible manner, and in fiscal year 2018, our combined revenue was a little over $16.8 million, while our operating expenses were $16.6 million. Rather than run through with you our P&L, I thought it would be interesting if we showed you that our expenses are divided up into 6 operating categories that further our mission, and I will share those details on each one. These are general, broad categories that reflect the mission of the association, and instead of just giving you just the rough numbers without context, I'm going to discuss each one so that you have the understanding and feel comfortable of where we're spending our resources and our money, and how that money flows back to supporting our membership and our industry. Let's start with policy processing. This is our program that regulates the marketplace by reviewing all transactions, ensuring they are compliant. This is very important because compliance is the cornerstone of a fair and healthy market. Evaluating insurance companies. The financial security of insurers in our space is always important. It has become even more so with the recent disasters as well as the emerging markets that we're seeing. Market protection. There are many ways that we help protect the market, too many to list here. We meet with regulators within our state, nationally, internationally, communicating updates, breaking news, our website, we send bulletins, we write articles for major publications, and broker compliance. Broker compliance, outreach, training, creating innovative products that make your lives easier. We have our online filing system, and we also have the Learning Center, which Bob spoke about, that we're very proud of, that we're hoping to improve your day-to-day experience with the Surplus Line Association. We also have management and general expenses. I know those can be a little dull, but the SLA, like all businesses, has a cost of running that business. We have rent, electricity, postage, all those fun things. And finally, we had Western States Surplus Lines Conference. The Western States Surplus Lines Conference was hosted by California last year in July in beautiful Lake Tahoe. We set aside money in the budget as the host state, and we also collected registration fees to offset those costs. It was a great event with fantastic attendance, and I would like to remind you all that this year's Western States will go on. It is going to be hosted by SIWA, and it'll be in Monterey at the Monterey Plaza Hotel, and the dates are June 24th through 26th, and I really hope to see you all there. Please mark your calendars. If you have any questions about this event, I'd be more than happy to answer them. In closing, the Surplus Line Association has a regulatory responsibility to provide compliance and financial analysis to ensure a fair, healthy, competitive marketplace. You can also see that we are proactively providing services and value to our membership. Many of these programs are developed through great efforts from our committees, from your feedback, from our staff, and our industry professionals that are volunteering their time and expertise help guide this association. We anticipate 2019 to be another banner year for the California market, and we look forward to serving you. Thank you.